Are you thinking of buying a Mercedes Sprinter? Then stop. Don't buy a Sprinter until you've watched this video. I've had this Sprinter now for 1 year. It's my vanniversary. So, what has gone wrong in that 1 year? Well, let me show you. In the year that I've had this van, I've had no end of problems. It's like a continual battle to keep this thing on the road. And it all started when I very first got it delivered. The very first day I got this van, I drove it around the block. All was fine. I drove it around the block again. Boom, stuck in first gear. It would not come out of first gear. It was stuck. Nothing what I did could make it come out of first gear. So a lot of my subscribers, a lot of my viewers said to me, try changing the brake switch, the pedal brake switch that makes the back lights come on, because apparently if this switch goes, your gearbox won't go into gear. Bit odd, but there you go. So I changed the switch. Nada, it did not work. It turned out to be this little box of tricks, which is connected via this pivot to your gear lever, and that this little box of tricks tells the ECU, the gearbox ECU, what gear you're in. And that's what it was. And these things are so difficult to get. I actually brought two, so I've got one in spare. This is the broken one. The spare one is under my bed in my spares box, ready to go just in case it goes again. Very difficult to get hold of. So now my van goes in gear at last. I can actually drive the bleeding thing. And remember, all this is happening before I've even converted it into a camper. So I'm happy I'm content. I'll take my van for an MOT. It passes the MOT. One advisory, handbrake needs doing. Not a problem. Just adjusted the handbrake. All good and done. MOT'd. Now I've just been for another MOT, but we'll more about that in a minute. Now on the way back from the MOT station, my turbo underboost light comes on. And it turns out it's this little thing here. And this valve controls the solenoid, turbo boost solenoid. All that happened is this bit had broken off. It got a bit brittle. There should be another pipe coming up here, and it snapped off. So I had to buy another solenoid. But actually, I bought two of them. I thought I'd change them both just in case. So two of these changed. We're good to go again. We're golden. We're driving again. I'm going to and fro B&Q. I'm buying wood. I'm insulating my van. I'm happy. I'm spending money on my van. And then engine light comes on again, and this is only a couple of months later. A couple of months, yeah, about 2-3 months later, engine light comes on again. I plug in my diagnostic tool, and I'm so glad I brought that. More about that later. It turns out it's my dreaded Egr valve. So I take it off, I clean it out. I watched some video about some guy who uses Mr. Muscle oven cleaner to clean out the Egr valve. I put it back on, it worked. It actually worked. Mr. Muscle got me going again for about a month, and then it went wrong again. So I bit the bullet, I bought a new one. 300 quid. 300 quid. Unbelievable. Right, Egr valve. New one fitted on my van. And then I think I've cured it. I'm good. My van's running like sweet as, right? And all of a sudden, boom, Limp Mode again. I lose all power once again the following week, the week after I changed that. And this is what it was. Another turbo pipe blew. It split down here. This was my get me home fix. I wrapped gaffer tape around it, clamped it together using cable ties. And obviously this is no longer on my van. I've replaced it. I put a new pipe on. So that's now gone. So that's another thing. All's well and good. We're going. We're tickety boo for about another month. And then my engine management light comes on again, and it goes into limp mode. So now I put my foot down on the floor. It won't go over 30 miles an hour. It says turbo underboost again, which is what happened when this broke. This turbo underboost seems to come on all the time, as you'll see. So this gave me a code that was turbo underboost, and then my throttle body sensor, pressure sensor switch, I had to change that. Inlet manifold pressure sensor switch, I changed that as well. And the mechanic at Mercedes suggested I change this little device, which also goes in the throttle body. Can't remember what it's called, but I changed that as well. Still no joy. I'm still getting turbo underboost every now and again. It's not constant. It's not a constant thing. It's a big mystery, right? I'll start panicking. I'm thinking I need a new turbo. I'm looking for new turbos. They're £750. And then I found this little gem of a video online about making a smoke machine to test your inlet manifold pressure. So that's what I did. I made a smoke machine. Unfortunately I didn't film it, and it melted anyway. I only got to use it once and it all melted, but I will make a video about that later on when I get time. But anyway, thanks to making this smoke machine, I discovered that it was this dreaded O-ring. That's all it was, an O-ring. I didn't need any of these valves. It was just this O-ring had popped out because the smoke was coming out from inside my manifold. So I changed my O-ring, and if you remember last week's video, it was actually this whole plastic body that needed changing, because on my trip to Scotland it blew out again, so I had to swap out the whole plastic inlet manifold, all because of this O-ring, dreaded O-ring. So we're good, we're going again, right? Now, I read an article a little while ago from an American gentleman that runs a fleet of Sprinters, and he says in his article that once any of his Sprinters get anywhere near 150,000 miles, he gets rid of them, because that's the threshold apparently. 150,000 miles, things start going wrong. My Sprinter's done 149,000 miles. Coincidental? I don't know. One last thing, as if that's not enough, my glow plug solenoid relay thingamajig went wrong. There's little tiny fuses inside here and they all blew, so I had no more glow plugs. Engine won't start without glow plugs, especially a cold engine, so I had to buy another one of those. This one is a knockoff one that I got off eBay. It was a cheap piece of junk. I plugged this in and all it done was blow me fuses, so I had to go and buy a proper one from Mercedes, and it wasn't cheap. Now, I know you can solder these together. There's little inline fuses in here that deliberately blow, and I did try that. I tried soldering them up, putting it in, but they still blew. I did a voltage check on my glow plugs. Glow plugs were all good, so yeah, why they kept blowing I don't know, but yeah, don't buy a cheap junk one off eBay. They don't work. All they do is blow all your fuses. So yeah, I replaced this with a new Mercedes one and it works. So there you go. If you're thinking about buying a Mercedes Sprinter and you're looking at one that's done about 150,000 miles, or it's approaching 150,000 miles, make sure all these bits have been changed. Either that, or buy one that's done 200,000 miles, because then you know all this lot's been done already. But apparently 150,000 miles is around about the threshold when things start to go wrong, so just bear that in mind. Apart from all this, I'm really pleased with my van. It drives really nice, I must say. When it's going, it goes really well. Would I buy another Sprinter? Absolutely, but I think I'd buy a manual one rather than an auto. Now, if that hasn't put you off buying a Sprinter and you're still determined to buy one, or you even own a Sprinter, then there's one thing I recommend you get yourself, and that's a scanner. Get a scan tool to scan your engine. Every time the engine management light comes on, you can plug it in and you can scan it yourself. You're self-reliant. You don't have to keep going to a garage every month like I would have done, getting my engine codes read so that I can then determine what's wrong with the car, or the van I should say. And I bought myself one of these iCarsoft scanners. A mechanic friend of mine recommended this to me. I've got to say, it's absolutely been invaluable. I bought the professional version, so this can do a multitude of vehicles, but they do one that's specifically for sprinters. So if you want a bit of a budget, just get that one. But if you can stretch, then get the professional version, because then you can use it on all sorts of other vehicles, cars, vans, and you can help your mates out basically, and I have done it with this. I've helped out loads of people with this. So yeah, get yourself a scanner. I will put a link in the description for this one, but there are plenty of them available. You can buy real cheap ones, but the cheap ones don't do your gearbox and your ABS and all that, whereas this one does. So highly recommend that. Now here's a strange thing, winter is upon us, and because of that I think people are starting to watch my old videos about how to fit a Chinese diesel heater, and one video in particular is becoming more and more popular, and that's a video that I made about how to make the Chinese diesel heater fuel pump a lot quieter. I'll put a link to that video here just in case you are fitting a diesel heater to your van. Check this video out. It'll show you how to make your diesel heater pump a lot quieter, and also by watching this video it helped me feed a cat, and I've got two and they're both hungry. Thanks for watching, ta-da for now. It's not running away, it's making funny noises. I think it's the fan. Yeah,